Modern dating feels effortless until you realize no one is actually staying. Swipes are quick. Conversations are easy. Connections feel instant. But somehow nothing lasts. Maybe this feels familiar. You meet someone. Feels right. The chemistry is there. The late night talks, the laughter, the plans, even the promises. And then one day, without warning, they slowly disappear. Not completely. Just enough to keep you confused. You tell yourself, maybe they're busy. But deep down, they didn't leave because they couldn't stay. They left because they didn't want to. And the hardest truth? Sometimes, neither did you. This is the story of a man who thought he understood modern dating, until he realized he had been running from commitment his entire life. But what happened next? Nobody expected. Ethan worked as a locksmith. Every day he unlocked doors for strangers. Apartments, offices, cars. People called him when they were locked out, desperate, frustrated, needing access. And Ethan was good at it. Quiet, reliable, and efficient. But there was something ironic about his job. He could open any door, except the ones in his own life. At 32, Ethan had dated more people than he could count. Not because he was searching, but because it was easy. Apps made it effortless. Conversations flowed. He knew what to say, when to text, how to keep things just interesting enough. But never too deep. His flaw wasn't obvious. He wasn't toxic. He wasn't dishonest. He didn't lie or cheat. He just never stayed. Whenever things got serious, when someone started expecting consistency, effort, commitment, Ethan would slowly pull away. Not suddenly, not dramatically, just enough distance to avoid responsibility. He told himself, I'm just not ready. I haven't found the right person yet. But the truth was quieter. He was afraid of being needed. One evening, while sitting in his van outside a dimly lit apartment complex, his phone buzzed. A message from Mia. Are you coming tonight? Or should I stop waiting? Ethan stared at the screen. Mia was different. At least that's what he told himself. She didn't chase him. She didn't beg for attention. She had her own life, her own boundaries. And somehow, that made him uneasy. He typed, yeah, I'll be there, then locked his phone, and sat there, not moving. Ethan arrived late. Mia opened the door, her expression calm, but tired. You're an hour late, she said. I got busy, he replied quickly. She nodded, stepping aside. The apartment smelled like fresh coffee. Soft music played in the background. Felt warm, lived in, real. They sat in silence for a moment. Then Mia spoke. Do you even want this? Ethan frowned. Want what? This? She gestured between them. Us. He hesitated. And that hesitation said everything. Mia looked down, then back at him. You show up, but you're never really here. I'm here right now, he said defensively. No. She shook her head gently. You're just present. There's a difference. That hit harder than he expected. She continued, voice steady but honest. I don't need perfect. I don't need constant attention. But I need someone who chooses me. Not someone who's just passing time. Ethan felt something tighten in his chest. He had heard complaints before, but never like this. No anger, no drama, just clarity. And somehow that made it worse. I think you like the idea of connection, she added softly. But not the responsibility that comes with it. Silence filled the room. Ethan stood up. I think you're overthinking this, he muttered. Mia didn't stop him. She just said one thing as he reached the door. Easy love always feels good, until it leaves you empty. Ethan left, but her words didn't. The next morning felt different. Not dramatic, not life-changing, just quiet. Ethan woke up earlier than usual. No alarms, no notifications, no messages. For the first time in a long while, no one was waiting for him. No one expecting a reply. No one asking where he was. He sat on the edge of his bed, staring at his phone. Empty. That should have felt freeing. But it didn't. Felt hollow. Later that day, he got a job call. A single mother had locked herself out of her apartment. Her young daughter stood beside her, holding a stuffed toy, visibly upset. Ethan knelt down as he worked on the lock. "Don't worry," he said gently. "We'll get you back inside." The little girl looked up at him. "Do you fix everything?" she asked. He smiled slightly. "Just doors." She tilted her head. "Then who fixes people?" Ethan froze. For a second, the world went quiet. He unlocked the door. The mother thanked him. The girl waved. And Ethan stood there, holding the key, feeling like something inside him had just been unlocked instead. That night, he didn't open any apps, didn't text anyone, didn't distract himself. He just sat in silence. And for the first time, he asked himself a question he had avoided for years. Why do I always leave before something becomes real? Days passed. Ethan tried to change. He really did. He resisted downloading dating apps again. He stayed off social media. He even typed a message to Mia. "Hey, I think I understand now." He stared at it, then deleted it, because deep down he knew understanding wasn't the same as change. One evening, out of habit, he reinstalled the app, just to check. Within minutes, he matched with someone. New conversation, new energy, new distraction. Felt good, familiar, safe, no expectations, no pressure. He smiled at his screen, and then suddenly, he didn't, because for the first time he saw it clearly. This wasn't connection. It was escape, and he had been using people not to hurt them but to avoid facing himself. He put the phone down, but the damage wasn't just internal. He heard from a mutual friend that Mia had started seeing someone else. Someone consistent, someone present, someone who stayed. Ethan felt a sharp ache in his chest. Not jealousy, not regret, something deeper. He had lost someone. Not because he wasn't enough, but because he never tried to be. Change didn't come easily. Ethan had built years of habits, avoiding, distancing, detaching. Now he had to unlearn them. He started small. He began showing up differently in his daily life. At work, he took his time instead of rushing. He spoke more, listened more. One evening, a regular customer recognized him. "You're different," the man said. Ethan paused. "How?" "You look present." That word again. Present. Ethan smiled faintly. "I'm trying." Weeks turned into months. Loneliness didn't disappear. In fact, it got louder. But instead of running from it, he sat with it, learned from it. There were nights he almost texted someone just to fill the silence. But he didn't, because he finally understood something. Being alone wasn't the problem. Avoiding yourself was. One early morning, just before sunrise, Ethan stood outside his van, coffee in hand. The air was cold, the sky slowly shifting from dark blue to soft orange. Quiet, still. He took a deep breath. For the first time in years, his mind wasn't racing. He wasn't chasing anyone. He wasn't avoiding anything. He was just there. And strangely, that felt like progress. 1 year later, Ethan still worked as a locksmith. Same job, same van, but a different man. He didn't have dozens of conversations anymore. He had fewer connections, but real ones. He met someone. Not through an app, not through endless swiping, but through a simple, ordinary moment. A bookstore visit, a conversation about a broken lock, a shared laugh. This time, he didn't rush it, didn't perform, didn't pretend. He stayed. Not perfectly, not effortlessly, but intentionally, because he finally understood. Commitment isn't about finding the right person. It's about becoming someone who stays. Modern dating makes connection easy, but it also makes detachment normal. Here's the truth most people don't realize. The average person spends over 2 hours a day on their phone. That's 730 hours a year, almost an entire month, spent scrolling instead of connecting. And the more options we have, the less effort we give. But real relationships aren't built on options. They're built on presence, on choosing the same person, even when it's not exciting, even when it's uncomfortable, even when it requires effort. Because easy love doesn't last. Intentional love does. Tonight, do one simple thing. Be fully present in one conversation. No distractions, no escape. Just show up and ask yourself, are you actually looking for connection or just avoiding commitment?